kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it is time for me to keep moving on and say greetings to the world, because we are, as you know by now, on the World Wide Web, and we reach and communicate with you all over the globe, from right here in the beautiful Caribbean and to wonderful islands and one lovely paradise called St. Kitts and Nevis. So let me say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and good night to the entire Caribbean region. We reach and we communicate with you all down south in the Caribbean, on the South American mainland, Guyana, Venezuela, coming up north to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda. Let's not forget Montserrat. We go west to St. Eustatius, Sabre, St. Barth, St. Martin, Anguilla, Totola, Anegada, Virgin Gorda, that's PBI, and St. Thomas and Croix, St. John, the USVI. We also reach and communicate with you in Puerto Rico, también. And of course, as I said, all over the globe in the Kittitian, Division, and Caribbean diaspora. We reach and communicate with you in Asia, in Africa, Europe, and all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good night, good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And we do have first-timers, I'm sure, and we thank all those who continue to share the link. Whenever you do so, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free, expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try as well to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse by alerting all of our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligation. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. So we welcome you once again. We'll always continue to seek the courage needed because we are speaking for the truth and right. We stand firm for godly justice, and we always bring those evil things to light. So my Straight Talk family, as I say that, let me remind you that nothing, absolutely nothing is watered down here on the Straight Talk. Neither by omission or by exaggeration. We're not about sensationalism. We're not about creating excitement. What we do is we lean on the facts, because it's my bounden duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, accountability, transparency, and the list goes on. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis and wherever we are, because we are joined together with people across the Federation. We are joined together with people in the diaspora all over the world. And some we know very well. Some we have met. Some we have not met physically. Yes, some we have met spiritually. And some we will never meet physically. But we understand that we are a different people. So on this forum, we entertain what I call a diversity of views. And we accept. And some we will agree, especially on the positions of truth, advance. And some we will disagree. And that's fine. We are a different people. But please do not let us become disagreeable. Let us thank Almighty God in the meanwhile for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we all can sing His praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link and bring us first timers. Please continue to do so. And for the first timers, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. If you love it, go tell it over the mountains. Go tell it all over the world. If you don't find a way to come and tell me, because here it's all about continuous improvement. But I'll always remind you as well that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls at some stage in the program. We also include your emails. If you're so mindly calling, the numbers are on your screens. The address is on your screens. For those who like the cloak of anonymity, I call it. We give you access via our email platform. That address is also on your screen. And we are heard live on Alexa. Believe it or not, you have that app. Just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And we thank the owner for facilitating us at a nominal cost. We continue to say thank you for all of those who have made contributions, those who still wish. If you do, that code is on your screen. Scan it. It's a very simple process. We thank you for any donation. You help to keep this public service alive. Help to keep this dialogue alive. And if You should know by now that I cannot move forward any time without acknowledging and welcoming our Straight Talk Junior Brigade. Young Dwayne, Jasmine, Tristan, Shama, Kevin, Young Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, Neymar, my grandson. He must be heard, otherwise I'll be in trouble. And his good friend Soraya. It's vacation, Christmas vacation. They're having fun. Elizabeth and that special lady in St. Louis as well. Greetings. We normally start with our observations in review, and we highlight the current issues. And as I say observations, I reflect that last Monday I heard and I informed you that the 16 semi-finalists would come up against Juicy, the Calypso King, and that was such an error. In fact, they would be whittled down, if I can use that term, to I believe it's 7 finalists to join Juicy on final night, and some no doubt will try to dethrone him. How come my Straight Talk family missed that? I made very, very big mistake when I made mention of these semi-finalists who would advance these out of the eliminations. I made mention of these semi-finalists. I think the semi-finals, it's on the 7th, is it? 7th of December. Am I correct? Yes, I think it is on about the 7th of November. Then they come up against themselves, and some 7 will be collected, or will move forward, should I say, to the Calypso Monarch finals. So that's a correction from my error I made last Monday. And our other observation for tonight, rather, there's an IKO facilitation framework or facilitation treaty, which stems from the Chicago Convention, and it's Annex 9 facilitation. And the rationale behind all of this is to make international air transport more efficient, predictable, and secure by reducing unnecessary administrative barriers at borders, while still protecting national security, of course, public health, and immigration controls. But this information has just come to hand, however, and it does the opposite, in my view, as it creates inefficiencies and unnecessary administrative barriers at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport. When I heard this, I cringed.
Just also a point to put out there and educate the public. Effective immediately, the suitcase traders, so that's the persons that would travel and go away to shop for the season or whatever it is and come back through the airport. So in order to facilitate a smooth transition with all of the passengers that come through RLB, effective immediately, those suitcase traders, their suitcases will be detained and then transferred to the courier department, where they will now be processed down there. Okay. So if John owns a store on 4th Street, or he sells on the side of the road. When John goes to Miami and comes back with his merchandise for retail, what would happen is that John's suitcase, however much pieces he has, would be detained by the department and transferred to the courier department. So then John would now go to the courier department and set an appointment.
I've never heard that though. Suitcase traders. It reminded me of the days in the 1950s, 60s, 70s when all those Asians used to come and sell their cloth from the suitcases. But these are some ordinary poor people flying out and can't afford to wait or even to pay freight. So they pack a few things in the suitcases. And of course, the airlines have their limitations in terms of weight. But this has to be interpreted as a direct attack on small business operators or traders, or those suitcase traders, as this young lady said. But why detain cargo and send it to the customs courier office or department in Birdrock instead of simply establishing a secondary line at the airport? Or, as a matter of fact, I came across a social media post and the content of the same is so instructive and makes so much sense. It's on your screens. And I believe this is not necessarily a true name, but it reads, and I quote, "As a senior customs officer, this idea of detaining," well, I'm putting in those words, but he's referring to the detention of the suitcase traders, suitcases or boxes, whatever they have. It's a bit too much. One, the risk of stealing by staff has greatly been increased due to those bags changing hands from the airport to Birdrock staff. And there is no way a trader can miss 2 to 3 pieces of clothing out of a few bags right away. And two, this does not have anything to do with faster processing of passengers, because if it was so, why not allow the passengers to stay back after the flight? Then you have an officer or officers deal with them last, which is what they were doing for years and was working quite well. I suspect the government is broke, and it is more about the customs management thinking the airport staff is in cahoots with the passengers due to not meeting quotas, and therefore this decision is about collecting more revenue. It won't last though. Public pressure will mount and they will revert to the original policy of dealing with the commercial passengers after the flight. I am glad to see Miss Martin finally reach the rank of senior clerk. And Lord knows the amount of bosses at customs. That's the rest is for your own comprehension. But I read the content, but believe my straight dog family, the things in St. Kitts and Nevis are hard. Mention was made of pilferage at the customs. And things will only get harder for as long as Terence Michael Drew leads this country, now attacking the suitcase traders, according to this customs lady. Our second observation I make reference to, it's about Terence Michael Drew, who has entered his 4th year as Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And unless there is a radical change in this man, he will be recorded as the worst Prime Minister ever to run this federation. After 3 full years and now into the 4th at the helm, Drew is without a semblance of doubt incompetent and has also been proven as a pathological liar. Why doesn't he focus on governing the country instead of everyday politicking and spreading false rumors like this one, my Straight Dog family, that he spread on social media? Imagine this. Labour left $450 million in the SIDF CBI account. Nevis received nothing because this account was kept hidden under unity in justice. And most times he's talking about his predecessor as his predecessor in the Labour Party, because it was his predecessor who said that the SIDF was a private fund. It was Team Unity, in fact, that ensured that this fund, these monies, were put into the consolidated fund for the first time ever. But when you read this post, you can say, what stupidity. Because under Team Unity, for the first time ever, there's a board member elected to serve as an SIDF councillor, I think they call them. And if Mark Brantley, my Straight Dog family, gave that impression to the Prime Minister, because you never know, then he is just as crooked as he too must remember this, my Straight Dog family. Brantley must remember this.
There was a lot of talk about the SIDF. In fact, one Calypsonian and King Bingi in Nevis sang a catchy song, said we want we SIDF money. You all remember that? It was an anthem, a rallying cry. Because when the shoe squeeze you, you got to ball out. Money, I'm told, $1.2 billion flowed through the coffers of the SIDF. Nevis got nothing. And you imagine when you look over and you see your brother pot full and you're dead for hungry, how that must feel. That was our reality. And it took a Team Unity government in 2015 to change that. Because it was only with the coming of Team Unity that the people of Nevis were finally able to put a board member on the SIDF who could take a proposal from the NIA for funding. And I made the point recently because we opened a new treasury building, a new financial complex in Nevis. And I said and made bold to say that if people pass and call it the SIDF building, that was okay with me. Because if it wasn't for the funding provided by the SIDF, that building, we never know if it could have been realized.
So when Terence Drew posts this nonsense on his Facebook page and spread it around the world, I wonder if he doesn't have a shame box, my Straight Dog family. But the people of St. Kitts and Nevis all know about the benefits that derive from the SIDF for Nevis between 2015 and 2022. So the young man will tell Terence Michael Drew, go back your face with your lies. Our third observation, and it was as recent as Monday last, Straight Talk raised a very troubling issue about the funding of travel for our ministers by a private investor who is currently negotiating a project with the Terence Michael July administration. which smacks in the face of corruption or bribery. But absolutely no comment you would get from the government who benefit from this travel. How can you your travel to Africa, to Nigeria, wherever, be subsidized by an investor who is doing business with the government? Recall Samuel Duggins promised to construct a port in his constituency. How many of us remember this?
And I told you in half a tree about the pier that we are looking to bring to New Guinea. I told you about the commercial dock we are looking at for New Guinea. And I want to tell you that the developers have told me that they are primed and ready for this pier. And we now have the right tools, the right backing, and I am pleased to tell you that within the next year or less, you will have boats docking at the pier in New Guinea, ready to serve the people of our constituencies.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, it is reliably rumored that when the Terrence Michael July Labour administration assumed office, meetings were held with Samuel Duggins, with Garth Lucifer Wilkin, Aisha Maina, Reggie Francis, and two other businessmen. And Francis, we understand, surrendered the EIA report, the Environmental Impact Assessment report he had, and his business plan. But somewhere, somehow along the way, however, things have gone sour to the extent that Reggie Francis, it is also reliably rumored, has filed 3 cases in the Eastern Caribbean High Court against the Jew government. But more recently, though, Aisha Maina has publicly revealed the intentions of her company, Gemini Integrated Commodities Trading. And she said this to a reporter, my Straight Dog family. Aisha Maina had this to say, and all we can say, nothing in the darkness, or everything in the darkness, I think is the term they use, always come to light.
Aisha Maina is leading a landmark $40 million public-private partnership to develop a state-of-the-art commercial port in St. Kitts. This project is poised to unlock new opportunities. Aisha Maina, welcome to Africa 24. The $40 million port project is seen as a game changer for Caribbean logistics. What specific challenges in regional trade and market access does this initiative aim to resolve?
So we all know that the connection between Africa and the Caribbean is plagued with just air and sea connection. So logistics and infrastructure is the issue. What this project aims to do is address a few things. One, we are building a port that can actually take the ships that will come from Africa and go from Africa and go from the Caribbean to Africa. That's number one. Number two, we're building a hub in St. Kitts that will ensure that we can collate the raw material in the Caribbean, process it, package it, put it back on the ship, and can access markets in Africa and markets in South America. This also answers the question where everyone says that the entire Caribbean is only 45 million people. And what this project will do is basically collate products, raw materials from the Caribbean and South America, put it in a hub, manufacture different products, process some of it in terms of packaging, and put it on the ship that can go back to Africa.
And you know, my Straight Dog family, to be quite honest, listening to Miss Aisha Maina, Her proposal sounds like nothing but a US $40 million scam. And we never know who this Aquarian Consult CEO is in bed with. She funded an entire chartered flight from Nigeria to St. Kitts. It is reliably rumored that, like I said, her company funds the travel of ministers to Nigeria and Africa. But Straight Talk will keep you posted on this development. But just to remind you again that everything in the dark always comes to light. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And I move right into my thesis, which I have titled The NIA, or a Broke NIA, and Brantley Desperately Losing Destiny. I decided on the caption of my thesis for tonight after listening to the budget address by Mark Brantley on Tuesday morning. He ranted for just over 2 hours and caused me to conclude that the Nevis Island Administration, the NIA, is broke and is presently being led by a premier who is lurching from crisis to crisis, searching for a destiny he never seems able to grasp. For over 20 years, Brantley had been talking about geothermal. But all of a sudden, he has now introduced what he has called a transformative development on the south coast of Nevis. The project is enabled by the Sustainable Development Zone Act, my Straight Talk family. And Mark Brantley told the Nevis Island Assembly this.
We have taken steps towards energy sustainability through our pursuit of geothermal energy development, which is part of our efforts to make Nevis a clean and green environment. This solid platform for growth and development, which my government has laid over the past several years, has no doubt created an impetus for acceleration into the future. We must now seek to introduce new and bold ideas for growth and development to continue that acceleration. The South Coast development, enabled by the Special Sustainability Development Zone Act, is one such new and bold initiative. As we chart this new course, it is incumbent on us to prepare ourselves positively to embrace change. Let us all work towards repositioning ourselves and seek to capitalize on the tremendous opportunities that this and other transformative developments will bring to our sustainable future.
And my Straight Talk family, the South Coast development he referred to is called Destiny. And this project has exposed Mark Brantley as a leader or premier who is in a state of crisis, lacking direction, and no doubt facing a major downfall. The outlook provided by the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, paints a dim picture for the Federation, my Straight Talk family.
As a small island developing state, with our economy so intertwined with the global economy, it is no secret that the IMF's dim outlook will result in negative effects on our local economy. These effects will manifest themselves in higher import bills, increased fuel prices, growing current account deficits, inflation, reduced foreign capital inflows and foreign investments, and a reduction in development aid and an increase in the level of our public debt.
And my Straight Talk family, public debt under Mark Brantley amounts to a staggering $500 million and more. Believe it or not, my Straight Talk family.
Let me look now at the question of our public debt. Madam President, as it relates to the status of our public debt, the Nevis Island Administration government debt stock portfolio as of October 31st, 2025 stood at $474.7 million, representing a 1% decrease from the $479.5 million recorded in December 31st, 2024. During this review period, domestic debt totaled $453.04 million, accounting for 95.4% of the total central government debt, while external debt amounted to $21.6 million, or 4.6% of the total. When combined with the debts of statutory corporations, the total public sector debt amounted to $541.5 million as of October 31st, 2025, reflecting a 1.35% decrease compared to $548.9 million recorded on December 31st, 2024. Our debt stock is high, but it is being reduced systematically by this government.
And my Straight Talk family, as of October 31st, he made mention. Remember, the fiscal year of every government, including the NIA, is from January to December. So there are 3 months outstanding. And we know that this debt will increase by over $141 million, with the possibility, or the possible start, I should say, of the Vance Amory International Airport. But the NIA is struggling to pay its bills and facing another deficit of some $35 million and a soaring public debt, as I mentioned earlier.
A summary of resources projected to finance our 2026 expenditure program is outlined as follows. Current revenue, $175.8 million. Projected minimum revenues from CBI passport processing fees, $35 million. Concessionary loans, $24 million. Capital revenue, sale of government assets, $10 million. Other grant funding, $4.8 million. It should be noted that despite a projected 47% reduction in the revenue from CBI to fund our budget of expenditure for the upcoming fiscal year, our overall projected deficit of $34.8 million is a marginal increase when compared to the budget deficit of $27.8 million for this current fiscal year.
Overall deficit of $35 million. But imagine, capital expenditure projects are listed in a budget and cannot be executed. Some 13 projects were listed in the audit report that was laid in Parliament.
The annual budgets are merely projections for revenue and expenditure. The extent to which we roll out expenditure programs will naturally depend on our ability to access funding, especially for executing the items as outlined in our capital expenditure budget. I wish to assure the public that we will not be reckless and we will only seek to undertake projects if the funding is available or can be accessed at low cost in accordance with our debt management strategy. Where funding cannot be accessed at concessionary rates, we will curtail our capital expenditure program and carry forward to fiscal year 2027 any projects which were not executed due to the lack of approved financing. This strategy is borne out in the report from the Director of Audit, with reference that at the end of the 2024 financial year, 13 projects with a combined estimated budget of $4.08 million had not started. including projects which commenced in prior years. The primary reason for this is the unavailability of appropriate funding.
No funds. Imagine Mark Brantley running the NIA like a bar shop. Because one would think that if a government contemplates a project, hear me out, it would first provide justification for that project. And secondly, it would identify the source of funding for that project, as there can be no project without a budget. Snake, understand that. So when you hear people talking about scholars or people claim that they are bright, then how come there is this constant failure in their leadership? Good leaders must be able to manage basic services or respond effectively to crises, or there will be a breakdown in public trust. How can you trust a leader to build out an expansive capital project when he cannot build out a wing in the Alexandria Hospital? But Brantley is downright incompetent as a leader and lacks the capacity to function. Brantley comes now to tell Nevisians that he has an agreement from Drew to receive 25% of the CBI flows by the Straight Dog family. He comes to tell us this.
I am to announce that through negotiations with the federal government, an agreed share of 25% of CBI flows will now come to the NIA, realizing the long advocated for position of my government that such revenue be shared on a pro rata population basis.
But yes, my Straight Dog family, he's come now to say he's got his 25% of the CBI. But the Nevis Island administration is financially strained, and many believe the Premier is searching for a political lifeline. In 2015, recall, 3 parties joined to form the Team Unity government. But the coalition collapsed in 2022 after a dispute, driven largely by CCM, or the Premier and CCM, over whether Nevis was receiving its fair share of citizenship by investment revenues. Subsequently, it was revealed that certain CBI shares had allegedly been undervalued. Public controversy, remember, intensified when 5,500 shares were reportedly issued to support a prison project under the first public benefit option, the PBO. The uproar ultimately led to a judicial review claim being filed in court. But although a new government took office in 2022, the July administration, it continued for 3 years to benefit from Caribbean Galaxy-related CBI inflows. But now, with that stream dried up, many say the goose that laid the golden egg is gone. A new government came in 2022, I told you. But July and his administration was relying on the CBI Galaxy money. Now the CBI windfall has evaporated, worsening Nevis's financial struggles. Some observers argue that the Premier's primary motivation during the fair share dispute was not solely to secure more revenue for Nevis, but it was to weaken or remove the sitting Prime Minister, Timothy Harris. Ironically, under the new arrangement, as I said earlier, Nevis now receives CBI revenue and retains 25%. Prime Minister Drew has spoken about diversification or diversifying the CBI program. Remember, he said this, my Straight Dog family.
From the days of sugar, when sugar was king, the diversification was always the way. We learned from tourism that tourism should not be the only leg on which our economic life stands. our economy stands, but it should be multi-pronged, diversified, in local parlance, multiple legs, or more than one foot, as we would say. It's critically important that we set a strategy that can achieve that, because when we see what happened with the CBI, we come to realize, if we had not realized, how critically important it is to have a diversified economy. And I would always say it was poor, neglectful, bad leadership to bring St. Kitts and Nevis to depend so heavily on one sector. And I would say that that was one of the most irresponsible economic strategy that this country has ever had. Irresponsible, because we could have done better.
But my Street Talk family, however, the new destiny concept emerging appears to be, or to center rather, on selling condos or condo units, through which buyers receive a passport and gain the ability to live on the island tax-free inside a proposed libertarian-style special economic zone with its own security, its own judicial mechanisms, and private amenities. Tonight, we therefore continue to confront a truth that can no longer be ignored. Nevis is facing a crossroads. I've said that before. One shaped by years of financial strain, political gamesmanship, and decisions made without the full confidence of the people. We were told that Nevis would rise, yet today, the NIA stands broke, and the Premier seems desperately searching for destiny rather than delivering a real rescue plan. Let us remember how we arrived here. In 2015, I said, 3 parties came together to form a team unity government. 3 parties came together to form a promise of shared leadership, shared responsibility, and shared prosperity. But by 2022, that promise imploded. Not by accident, not by fate, but because of a fierce dispute led by Premier Mark Brantley and the CCM over Nevis's so-called fair share of CBI revenue, which Brantley insisted should be collected in Charlestown once the projects are on Nevis. But that was unacceptable, naturally, to the then Prime Minister Harris. And what did we learn later? We learned that some CBI shares had been undervalued. We learned that 5,500 shares were issued to support a controversial prison project on the first PBO, public benefit option. And we saw the public outcry, loud, justified, and impossible to dismiss, leading to a judicial review in our courts, as mentioned earlier. And then came the change of government in 2022. New leadership, new promises. But for 3 years, the Drew Labour administration lived off the same prison Caribbean galaxy money. Money that flowed easily. Money that was politically convenient. And money that is now gone in the wind. My friends, I repeat, the goose that laid the golden egg is dead. And the administration has no replacement ready. And let us be honest. Many believe that the fair share debate was never only about revenue. Many believe it was about removing the Prime Minister Harris and not uplifting the people of Nevis. Yet today, after all the noise and all the drama, the Premier now collects CBI revenue and keeps 25%. So what has really changed? Where is the vision? Where is the prosperity that was promised? We were then told that CBI would be diversified. Prime Minister Drew spoke of reform, expansion, modernization. But what do we now see emerging under this so-called Destiny Project? A game changer, Brantley calls it. But there's nothing.
The establishment of the Special Sustainability Zone, the first of its kind within the Eastern Caribbean, must be seen as a new and proactive approach to public-private sector partnership for development. The build-out of activities within this zone will be a game changer for Nevis, not only elevating our prominence within the region, but also generating significant economic activity across various sectors during both the construction and operational phases. The proposed Destiny development, which is expected to occupy just over 2,000 acres of land, is akin to a high-end ultra-luxury villa and resort development. This development will position Nevis as a destination for high-end investment, surpassing any scale of development that we have seen in our sub-region. Once we have completed the final negotiations, we'll be in a better position to advise all residents of both St. Kitts and Nevis. The final agreement will be brought to this assembly, for ratification, and will be made public as part of the legislative process.
A game changer, Brantley calls it. But there's nothing new. Where we see a model where a condo is sold and a passport is granted. What changes is the reality where buyers can live tax-free in a private libertarian zone, a special economic zone, an SEZ, with its own security, its own code system, and private amenities operating outside the everyday reality of ordinary individuals. And that perhaps is transformative for Brantley.
We have taken steps towards energy sustainability through our pursuit of geothermal energy development, which is part of our efforts to make Nevis a clean and green environment. This solid platform for growth and development, which my government has laid over the past several years, has no doubt created an impetus for acceleration into the future. We must now seek to introduce new and bold ideas for growth and development to continue that acceleration. The South Coast development, enabled by the Special Sustainability Development Zone Act, is one such new and bold initiative. As we chart this new course, it is incumbent on us to prepare ourselves positively to embrace change. Let us all work towards repositioning ourselves and seek to capitalize on the tremendous opportunities that this and other transformative developments will bring to our sustainable future.
And yes, let's share dog family. Just ask yourselves, who is this really built for? Who benefits? And who is left behind? Meanwhile, developer Olivier Janssens is reportedly securing options on 2,400 acres of land, 2,400 acres of land in South Nevis. Land that forms part of our heritage, our environment, our future. Positioning it for CBI-linked development. Imagine 10,000 settlers in the first instance, but under CBI. If we apply the theory normally applied, we have 4 per family, a spouse and 2 children, then that's 40,000 settlers, 40,000 residents. New residents will descend upon Nevis. Where are they coming from? Nobody knows. Some say Africa. We don't know. But these are not small steps. These are not minor adjustments. These are decisions that will shape Nevis and St. Kitts, for that matter, for generations to come. So tonight I say this: Nevis and or St. Kitts They must not be sold in pieces. Nevis and St. Kitts must not be governed by desperation. Nevis and St. Kitts must not accept leadership that waits for destiny instead of building it. We deserve transparency, not secrecy. We deserve development, not dependency. We deserve leaders who put people above political ambition. And Terence Michael Drew and Mark Anthony Graham Brantley are both traitors. Yes, they are traitors, and they told us lies. Because Johnson said he spoke with both of the governments.
You just mentioned that an office will be opened on the island of St. Kitts and one on Nevis as well for Destiny. My question is related to that. When did this, have you had any discussions with the federal government about Destiny? And when did those discussions begin? Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course we had discussions with the governments. I mean, with both of them, right? So as I mentioned with the premier, the initial ideas were discussed in 2024 in the summer, and then they took more shape. It became more serious, and then we had enough land, and it was serious enough to go public. Summer 2025, sort of the summer 2025, right? But of course, yeah, we have been talking to the governments, and we will continue to do so.
And my straight dog family before one. Mark Anthony Graham Brantley is hell-bent to take this proposal to the Nevis Island Assembly. Going to Parliament does not make it public for us. Post the entire agreement on your website. Let the public scrutinize it. St. Kitts and Nevis, this is our moment to demand better, to demand accountability, as there is also a plan for the White Gate. And Douglas insinuated that sometime earlier.
I believe that the time would come, therefore, as the cabinet just a few weeks ago supported a submission that was made by the Whitegate Development Corporation for the Whitegate Development Area to be designated as a special development area. I believe, therefore, that as the framers of that kind of thinking come together, then they would be guided by what is being legislated in this parliament today. That the Whitegate Development Area might become one of the special sustainable development zones outlined with guidelines in this legislation as to how that can be achieved.
My straight dog family, we can't repeat it enough. This is our moment to demand a plan that lifts every Nevision and Kittitian, not just investors, not just elites, not just those who stand to benefit, like Sharon Mama Brantley, will benefit from the Real Estate Commission, estimated at some $50 million as the go-between. From private zones, my straight dog family, we stand to benefit from private zones and special privileges. My fellow citizens, let us rise and reclaim the future of these islands. Let us insist on leadership, courage, integrity, and vision. Let us build a Nevis and a St. Kitts that belong to all of us, not just a few. The future is not something we wait for. The future is something we must build together. An alarm bell echoing across our two islands, bound by history, It's trained by inequality, disillusionment, and unfulfilled promises. A broke NIA is not simply an economic condition. It is a symbol of what happens when a small nation, rich in talent and potential, becomes suffocated by poor stewardship, fiscal recklessness, and a widening disconnect between government and the governed. It represents the slow bleeding of public confidence, national pride, and the collective belief that tomorrow can be better than today. So what this thesis is ultimately trying to assert is that the salvation of St. Kitts and Nevis does not lie in the hands of one man or one administration, but in a collective political awakening. The Federation must rediscover its courage to demand better, transparent governance, responsible financial management, and leaders who understand that destiny is not inherited by position. It is earned through service. Only through such renewal can nation break the cycle, when the Federation break the cycle of political stagnation and reclaim the bold, resilient spirit that once defined all of us. In the end, a broke NIA can rise again, but only when we replace Brantley and Drew and find leaders who choose integrity over convenience, accountability over ego, and the people over the politics of the moment. And only then can a leader, any leader, find his destiny aligned once more with the hopes of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. If not, the Federation will remain with an island, a broke NIA, and a Premier Brantley desperately losing his destiny. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will entertain your calls and your emails as I open the lines momentarily. But when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, it's 2 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. We go to the lines and take this, our first call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liebert.
Good night, my dear.
The very people who we believe are protecting our democracy have succeeded in destroying it.
Have succeeded in destroying it. Okay. Yes.
I repeat, the very people who we believe are protecting our democracy have succeeded in destroying it. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. As per usual, you get in as our first caller, and normally sends us very thought-provoking quotation each time. And this one no different. The very people who we believe are protecting our democracy have succeeded in destroying it. And we must not allow that, because listening to Brantley, he has no intention to reverse the gear in which he has stuck for the last couple of months, or matter of fact, since last year. They all intended to ram through this project. Never anticipated the pushback by Straight Dog family. And I can forewarn you, they are not going to stop, but we must stop them. Hear me? They are not going to stop, and we have a duty to stop them. Good evening, Patches reads this email. The slithering snake out in bankrupt Nevis says he and CCM is reducing the gross public sector debt, and that in 2025, the NIA managed to reduce the total debt stock of Nevis by a whopping 1.5 million EC dollars. He wants the people of Nevis, and by extension St. Kitts, to congratulate him for his debt reduction efforts and achievements, a measly 1.5 million EC dollars. However, what the slithering snake is not telling citizens is this: if he reduces the gross public sector debt by the same $1.5 million EC a year every year, then it will take him only 316 years to eliminate the debt of Nevis. Interesting. Can you imagine that? 316 years of austerity. Is Mark really a snake, or is it more apt to describe him as a clown? And my Straight Talk family, I overlooked even to inform you that the CBI projections he made are down. I mean, Brantley got $66 million from the Team Unity administration. He asked for his fair share. And his fair share is now down to $35 million. How can I miss that, my Straight Dog family? That was a serious oversight on my part. My Straight Dog family, it has to be serious. Mark Brantley, in his effort to move his administration forward, seemed to be taking so many steps backward, because he has estimated, my Straight Dog family, that the revenue he will get from CBI under Timothy Harris, he got $66 million, $5.5 million each month. But under Terrence Michael Drew, believe it or not, he's only getting $35 million. How could I overlook that fact, my Straight Dog family, and not inform you about this reduction in his monthly allocations from the CBI? That was an oversight, my Straight Dog family, on my part, and I have to rectify it, because he also said this to the Assembly.
It is no secret that our citizenship by investment program has slowed dramatically, to the extent that the projected annual revenues have fallen way below that which was realized in previous years. Considering this, we are projecting that our annual share of revenue from the CBI program will fall below the $66 million previously received. To be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of $35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the upcoming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenues to fund the daily expenditure of government.
You must play that so you can absorb it, my straight dog family. You must play that one more time so we can absorb this from Brantley.
It is no secret that our citizenship by investment program has slowed dramatically to the extent that the projected annual revenues have fallen way below that which was realized in previous years. Considering this, we are projecting that our annual share of revenue from the CBI program will fall below the 66 million previously received. To be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of 35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the upcoming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenues to fund the daily expenditure of government.
From 66 million under the third Prime Minister Harris, he has tumbled to 35 million under the fourth Prime Minister, Terence Michael July. Every day is something new in St. Kitts and Nevis, reads this email. Look at the recent development where these jokey customs officers came on Freedom FM to talk utter nonsense about if people travel and you are deemed to be selling, your suitcases will be taken away to courier and you will have to make an appointment to go there. Well, Patches, who really came up with this idea? Is it those PAM customs officers running up customs like a bar shop? Or this came from the government itself to squeeze poor people more? You mean to say, Drew gave 2 months of duty-free concessions and they're still trying to squeeze poor people? Lord, man, we can't catch a break in this country. Well, Drew, let me tell you this. If this came directly from your government, you should be ashamed of yourself and start packing because we are voting you and your cabals out of government. On the other hand, if this came from those drunken PAM customs officers, then you need to intervene and do something now, because this cannot be right for poor people who are trying to make an honest living. Lord, things hard. Is dead we gone dead soon under this Labour government. But to all those customs officers who plan to confiscate poor people's suitcases, to thief what's in there, try it this year. You all have a rude awakening coming. This time around, good night, Patches, reads this email. Yes, the suitcase traders are being attacked. And yes, Terence Michael July is the minister responsible for customs. Is it his directive? Are the customs meeting their quota? That's why they have to impound or detain, to use their words, people's suitcases to go down to courier to make an appointment to pay your whatever duties. Dwyer said something the other day, which is so true. He said, when these bright people get into government, like they get stupid, saying and doing all kind of stupid things. And we all knew and understand that he was referring to this incumbent Labour government. My immediate reflection was when the Attorney General made one of his first stupid statements, articulating that they had to increase their ministerial salaries in order to preclude them from taking bribes. He further went on to say, so when a briber approach us, we will be able to chase them away. I wonder if he thought that he was speaking to a federation of idiots. Another stupid, idiotic remark was when he said to the host of calling program not to study McMahon because McMahon bitterly hates the Labour government. What a real stupid remark that was. Mr. Dwyer, you are so correct, reads this other email. And yes, my Straight Talk family, it's 14 past the 9 o'clock hour. If you've joined me for the first time, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the evening to 10, 8 to 10 in the PM, I should say. And we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you're so minded calling my Straight Talk family, the numbers are on your screens. Overseas line is 646-829-6672. And the local line 663-6672. You can access that number from overseas as well. Of course, you'll need the area code 869. For those who are calling locally, just 663-6672. And our email address, for those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, it's Straight Talk Patches. That's one word. Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES at gmail.com. At 9:15, you may have just joined me. And tonight we look at the situation in Nevis and to a great extent St. Kitts. We are waiting until we hear that budget address from St. Kitts. We haven't heard when this budget presentation will be in St. Kitts. Very strange. But we expect deficit situations as well here in St. Kitts. Good night, sir. Reads this other email. I am not sure if you know this or not, but it's absolutely true. Nevis will be a completely religion-free zone. Destiny will, by contractual agreement of the residents, be a place where religious practices, symbols, or affiliations are completely restricted and are explicitly excluded. I am told that the development agreement currently being negotiated with the NIA allows the Destiny Zone developers to outlaw and ban religion of any kind in the zone. Destiny will not be a part of our Christian society in St. Kitts and Nevis. It will be the world's first social experiment which seeks to outlaw all forms of government and religion. The Mighty Sparrow sang, when you catch them broke, you can get them all for nothing. Sparrow, yes. Nevis is broke, so we'll probably get Nevis all for nothing. And if you have just joined me, my Straight Talk family, we looked at our thesis for tonight. A broke NIA and Brantley desperately losing destiny. We looked at the flows, money flows coming from the CBI. And although Brantley says he has an agreement to get 25% of the CBI flows. But you note, my Straight Talk family, everything here in St. Kitts and Nevis is done in the dark. So long we got the World Bank report. Why is it not shared with the public? Why we, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, can't benefit from reading ourselves what the World Bank recommended? Why only 9 or 10 or 15 people in a population of over 50,000 are the ones to just read it? We talk about freedom of information. So why are they hiding all these things? We know that Brantley, for example, would, as he pushed through the legislation in terms of the SEZ, he will try to do the same in Nevis, because the last call is to be made by Premier Jew, who at one time said he has nothing to do with it. Forgot that he was the one who tabled the legislation. And if things go wrong, is St. Kitts and Nevis, as the federal government, will have to accept all the liability. But my Straight Talk family, what has really changed in terms of the CBI? Where is the vision? We ask, where is the vision? Where is the prosperity that was promised? Let's go to the lines and say good night to this caller. It's 9:20. Caller, you live.
Pleasant good evening to you.
Good evening, my dear.
And how are you?
I am peaceful. Sounds like the dimple lady. I am much better, I should
Yep.
say. How about that?
Okay. Yep. I think
You there?
yes, I'm with you.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. If anybody did tell me that it's so, this country here would have come under so many exports, I would have told him they lie. Right now here in St. Kitts, I rather to live with the old man them, 95 and 85, and rather to live with them and to live with these exports here. Because I know when they do something and they say they forget, I'm going to believe they forget because the brains ain't working so good. So I feel comfortable with them. And these exports we put in government, no. It seemed to me like this government here give away all electricity money to those people that gone back overseas, and now they want to kill us to pay it back. It's unfair. It's unfair in this country. Tell you no lie. They're trying to kill all of us while them survive. And I don't have a feeling being around them telling a lie. They ain't ready yet. And I don't think they're going to ready again. Because it's underneath we going, not on top. Under we going, not on top. You have a pleasant good evening. If I get back, I will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you as always for your contributions. We go right back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liber. How are you, man?
I am peaceful. What about yourself?
Well, I'm trying to be peaceful, but I've got to learn this skill from you.
Just be at peace with your God and at peace with yourself and at peace with the world.
Okay.
You know?
I will try that starting tonight.
Very easy, my brother. Good to hear.
Last week Thursday, I was listening to a program on freedom, and the Prime Minister was on talking about destiny and the special the SSZs, Special Sustainability Zones.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that whole project, the proposed project, no other project in the country has got the coverage that has got, because his government is the most open and frank government ever face the people. They've held town hall meetings and all kinds of things to inform the people what this project is all about. And he went out to point out, that other projects in St. Kitts, Four Seasons in Nevis, had no prior notice given to the people. There were no town hall meetings to tell the people what was going to happen at Four Seasons. Nor did Marriott have any laws passed in Parliament to let people know that there was a hotel coming, and that there were no town hall meetings as well, and no radio broadcast to tell you what was going on with Marriott and that kind of thing. I cannot understand how the Prime Minister can compare Destiny with Four Seasons and Marriott. Maybe you can see it. You can give me a hint.
Yes, he's daft.
Yeah, because we Kittitians and divisions can walk in and out of Four Seasons and Marriott, I believe, as we please.
Yes.
But I don't believe that's the idea for Destiny.
Well,
it's a different arrangement.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I understand he referred to the industrial site as well.
Yes.
Man is sick.
As a special sustainability zone.
Yeah, nobody. There was a meetings about them. Man is sick.
This man is absolutely insane.
He is.
Look, there are things going on at the Fort Thomas. All kind of things going on down here.
Right.
But we haven't been told anything about it. No town halls to say whether we accept it or not. So you're not any better than anybody else.
Exactly. He's giving us desalination water to drink in East Bastia, and he hasn't had any town hall meetings. Why? He has released the environmental impact assessment. Why?
All of that.
You know?
And that is critical. That could be critical to people's health.
Life and death. Yes.
So, but it's just the level of ignorance of this man, of some small hotels, because they're relatively small compared to world standards, Four Seasons and Marriott, and comparing it to a 2,400 acre project.
He told us about Ritz-Carlton. Why don't they have some town hall meetings as well? Ritz-Carlton is coming. This guy is sick.
It's foolish to make that any kind of comparison like that.
Yep.
You go with Ritz-Carlton, you're probably looking about 2 acres of land. The same thing for Four Seasons and Marriott. Probably about 2 acres of land. Maybe a little more.
Much more than that.
Thousands less than what Nevis is planning.
Yep.
That Destiny project will have a great effect on the population of St. Kitts and Nevis. Then all of these hotels put together. So how can somebody so idiotic to compare that project to a simple hotel? We live in a weird, crazy world. Led by
crazy man.
Weird, crazy people. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well, brother. Thank you for calling. Remember, he's up and down, like a yo-yo. Because he told us this too about the issue or that project in Nevis. Remember this?
Nevis Island Administration is responsible for its resources. And therefore, I am not even going to comment on what Nevis should or shouldn't do with its lands. If you read the Constitution clearly, what we have is a federal system with a Nevis Island Administration. And part of what the Nevis Island Administration is supposed to do is to manage its own resources. The Constitution does not give me the right to manage the resources on Nevis. I don't know if people recognize that. Sometimes I see people trying to pull me in. You can't pull me into Nevis affairs. If Nevis decide to sell the land here, what does that have to do with me? That is the Nevis Island Administration, and it was specifically set up for that. So I say all the time, why are you including me in this? I can't be involved in this. This has nothing to do with me. The Constitution is clear. Nevis manages its lands. St. Kitts Nevis federal government manages the land of St. Kitts. The Constitution allows the fact that if a Nevisian becomes prime minister, they can control the land of both Nevis and St. Kitts. But a Kittitian who becomes prime minister cannot control ever the land in Nevis based on the Constitution. But you're aware of that? I mean, I'm saying it now. I'm just internalizing it now. Do you know what the serious implication of that is? And therefore, I am simply saying that I have nothing to do with the land in Nevis. The Constitution tells me clearly, Prime Minister, the lands in Nevis are to be administered by the Nevis Island Administration. So I keep out of it.
He's keeping out, my straight dog family. But the same legislation that he rammed through the parliament stipulates that the final approval must be granted or authorized, whichever word you want to use, by the federal parliament. So is he drinking or smoking something? Those are the questions we need to ask. But my straight dog family, the public must continue to cry out loud. We must cry out loud as we can. Because we cannot accept that this will go down as they plan it to be. My straight dog family, what we now see emerging under this so-called Destiny Project, Brantley call it a game changer, whatever that means. But there's absolutely nothing new. Where we see a model where a condo is sold and a passport is granted. What changes, or what is a game changer, Brantley must tell us, is the reality where the buyers into the Destiny Project can live tax-free in a private libertarian zone, a special economic zone, an SEZ, with its own security, own court system, and private amenities operating outside the everyday reality of ordinary Nevisians. Do we want that on St. Kitts as well, at Whitegate? That perhaps is transformative. But ask yourselves, who is this really being built for? Who benefits and who is left behind? My straight dog family, we know that when Oliver Johnson came, he said he looked for the best realtor. And he claimed there's no conflict of interest. And he found Sharon Mama Brantley, the wife of Mark Brantley, as the go-between the developer and the landowners. Patches, I'm so disappointed in Junie, reads this email. The way he let July took over his show last Thursday. Junie had announced that July was coming to the station and we will be discussing the SSZ. When July got there, all he wanted to talk about was the prison project and all the crap he always talks about. Junie told July that he has questions from some politicians and reporter Andre Huey. July said to Juni that he's not answering any questions from any politician or reporter. July also said that the reporters does be at his round table so they can ask their questions. Juni, being a journalist himself, just sat there and listened July chat his crap. I don't know why all of them at the radio station are afraid of July and his gang of vagabond ministers. Juni should have told July that this is not your so-called round table. This is issues where anyone is allowed to call in or ask any question they want. Reads this email. Well, writes this other email. Dr. Jew really lived up to his promise when he said that he had one shot. He had one shot for the Nevis sheriff, Mark Brantley. Well, Jew took a very long time since he made that public statement to execute his threat, and I thought he had changed his mind. However, he really gave Mark that long-awaited gunshot by decreasing the $66 million monthly budget, that should be annual budget, support Harris had given to him. Let him blame Harris now for what Jew has done to him. Well, at last, Mark finally got his fair share. Divisions cry out, Harris loud, we need Harris again, my straight dog family. That's what they should cry out, my straight dog family.
It is no secret that our citizenship by investment program has slowed dramatically to the extent that the projected annual revenues have fallen way below that which was realized in previous years. Considering this, we are projecting that our annual share of revenue from the CBI program will fall below the $66 million previously received. To be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of $35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the upcoming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenues to fund the daily expenditure of government.
The lines are open. I must apologize to my callers. I did not ignore your calls, but I just got sidetracked. So the lines are open. Feel free to call. We do try to juggle the emails as well as ensure that we keep our joining listeners or viewers up to date. But my Straight Talk family, we have a task ahead of us, and we must pay attention. They would want us to go away and stop talking about the SEZ and the Destiny Project in Nevis. But we shall not, my Straight Dog family. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. How are you?
I listened to him last week and June show. And it seemed like June never feeling too good. So he talked to him really, but it seemed like craziness on top of him was coming stronger, and June is afraid he come after him. Because how he is sound, if me with June, I would have scared, because he see June never feeling too good. And I rang him because when you see crazy people ready, don't care what you do, you just cannot stop them at all. And you look up the craziness in a command in lawyer, stronger, and what. So, Junior must be already definitely know. I can't take you out today because you seem like the craziness look up stronger than me, so I'm going to let you talk and bang your mouth and what's that. I was listening. Yes, we have a good night.
Have a good night as well. Yes, my Straight Dog family. The Lines, like I said, are still open. Forgive me, I was not ignoring your calls, but we try to intermingle with the emails as well. This email reads, Patches, if anyone listens to the guy Olivier Janssens of the SSZ, that should be Destiny, they will realize that July and Mark the Snake Brantley are lying to us. The guy Olivier said he has been in discussions with them quite a while now. He has also mentioned that they talk about CBI shares. July is a compulsive liar. We can't believe anything he and Mark the Snake Brantley are saying. Yes, they are traitors to the nation, I would venture to say as well, my Straight Dog family. And it's 20 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. If you have just joined me, my Straight Dog family, we are looking at our thesis for tonight, which I have titled A Broke NIA and Brantley Desperately Losing His Destiny. And I got my thesis title, having listened to Brantley's presentation I mentioned earlier, during his budget address on Tuesday, I think it was. I wanted to get from the horse's mouth what was the fiscal situation like in Nevis. And we got a lot to conclude that things are not good on Nevis. We got to learn about the public debt under Mark Brantley. The public debt amounts to a staggering $500 million in Little Nevis with 13,000 people, my Straight Dog family. The public debt will increase when the airport starts.
Let me look now at the question of our public debt. Madam President, as it relates to the status of our public debt, the Nevis Island Administration government debt stock portfolio as of October 31st, 2025 stood at $474.7 million, representing a 1% decrease from the $479.5 million recorded in December 31st, 2024. During this review period, domestic debt totaled $453.04 million, accounting for 95.4% of the total central government debt, while external debt amounted to $21.6 million, or 4.6% of the total. When combined with the debts of statutory corporations, the total public sector debt amounted to $541.5 million as of October 31st, 2025, reflecting a 1.35% decrease compared to $548.9 million recorded on December 31st, 2024. Our debt stock is high, but it is being reduced systematically by this government.
Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Is this straight talk, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, in relation to this safe zone destiny community, my question is, was the land leased or was the land sold? That is my question.
The land in well, he has an option to buy. He's not leasing the land.
Oh, it's buying.
Yes, he's buying all the land. Yes, he said that.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Not at all. 2,400
I could understand. I could understand leasing. You lease the land and anything happen, still belong to us.
No.
But purchase.
Yes.
That is like going back into colonialism.
You're so right. You're so right, my brother. You're so right. It's a lot of land too, 2,400 acres.
Yeah.
Little Nevis.
That is in Nevis.
Yes, yes.
I'm from the St. Kitts end. Have anything been said in relation to that in St. Kitts as well?
Well, Douglas, former Prime Minister, intimated that White Gate would possibly be an economic zone as well. So we don't know how much
White Gate.
The White Gate development, that's a large tract of land as well. So
Douglas and White Gate again.
Yes, he's come back with it. Same Douglas, you're right. Well said.
Well
said. Yes,
But what I don't understand, how come there wasn't a public consultation on these things? That is what I don't understand.
Well, they said they have public consultations.
When and where?
The Prime Minister had a public consultation at NIMA some time ago for about 2 hours to speak about the law, the actual Special Sustainability Zone Act, to be correct. But they start late, they limit your questions and they're gone. And they call that consultation. So too in Nevis, but the fact is that the consultations came after the horse has left the barn,
That is what it appears to.
Yeah, right.
That is what it appears to be.
Yeah, and that's not good.
I mean, something like that. I mean, honestly, I didn't hear anything about it. It's just a talk I hear after. And in 2011, when they were having consultation in relation to the public service act and also the pension, scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, several times I had to go up the park from work in relation to that consultation.
Yep.
So how come this thing is just like a one-off thing?
Yep. Unfortunate, my brother. Unfortunate. But we still have the power to change them. We still have the power to stand up and reject
exactly. That is what needs to be done. I mean,
yes.
What I understand so far that should be taking place in those safe zone community. I mean, somebody with common in the book sense, anybody with common sense who love their country, who patriots for the country, wouldn't accept something like that.
True. Well,
all right.
we count on you to just stand firm, The people will have to. Okay, but thanks for your intervention. And
all right.
Have a good night. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding you alive. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches?
Yes, sir.
Good night. I'm calling from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeking clarification because a gentleman earlier, he asked you if the land is bought or if the land is leased. Your answer was they have an option to buy. You didn't say they're leasing right now or they will start out with a lease and they have an option to buy, which they can exercise. Which is it? Are they buying the land?
It's a buyer's option. He's what I meant buyer's option, meaning that he has I understand that there's an agreement to buy with a down payment on the land. And he pays in a certain time. There's nothing about lease at all.
So there's no leasing. The
None at
land
all.
is sold. The land is sold to them outright.
Yes, so he exercises option to buy by applying a deposit to the land.
Okay, so the leasing is out. Period. There's no lease.
No lease. He did say he wants no lease.
Okay, all right. Because I just want some clarification on that.
I'm sorry to mislead you. Yes, he's buying outright.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good night, Brother Patches. Good night,
Good night,
to our
sir.
listeners. Far and near, home and abroad. Patches, I'm going to start with a internal St. Kitts and Nevis problem. And I will give my name. I am Winston Welcome, and I stand behind what I said. The police department of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis are crap. They need to be reformed. And I hope the commissioner is listening. And to all who have ears to hear, let them hear. Policing in St. Kitts and Nevis is a joke, not serious. Life are at stake and continue will be at stake. Criminal activity is like a condone situation. Patches, can you imagine whether it is something stolen or a act is in action, and before it could be diffused, there has to be a criminal activity in order for a police to assist. And there is a saying, prevention is better than cure. I have a personal problem, and I had one before, and I decided I'm going to go public this time. There is an activity, an action that caused against me in respect to theft of my livelihood, my sweat and blood, bro.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. My brother. You just woke up?
Yeah. No.
You were listening to the program?
Yes, I was.
But you just listen and you just come and you just trust you just trust in a different cause. I'm a little lost with what you're talking about, number one. And you really are off topic.
This is a diverse program, and I always chime in, follow the flow. But
we were discussing a particular issue tonight, as we normally do. And if you were brief, I could understand it, but it just took us completely off guard, and I'm trying to follow. Yeah, but I'm trying to follow what you're saying, and I'm sure the viewers are finding it the same.
Okay. So let me strike that.
No disrespect to you, but
I respect that. Let me get back on track. Now, our problem right now is our land and the SSV zone, with a foreign intervention of a Belgium European try to buy our land, and that is, and I always said, it is a condemnation. We shouldn't sell our land. The most we can do for a foreigner, a foreign business, is lease our land. And if they are not up to the standard that we will anticipate as a foreign investor, then they will forfeit their deal. Now, if we don't take the power, keep the power in our hands and utilize it, our lands will be vanishing away, not slowly, fast. For that chunk of land in Nevis, for what is going down with the Premier of Nevis, including the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis, this is no kind of integrity, no kind of protection to its people that they have sworn to protect.
Okay.
And for that reason, they are treasonous, and I will reaffirm what I've said about treason, people who are treason to their country.
Okay.
And that act shall be carried out. The penalty for treason is death. I didn't say I am a hangman.
Okay.
I didn't say I want to hang anyone.
Okay.
But the penalty for treason is death.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope these people are being mindful that if they fail with the next upcoming election, with the new administration, we shall, and I quote, we shall consider that kind of penalty.
Okay.
And set an example for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the lines. Collie, thank you for holding your live.
Okay.
Yes, my lord.
Okay.
Yes, sounds like the man. Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Not a lot.
We can't understand what's going on up to this present moment. I mean, just going to lock off the TV and go sleep because I can't understand what happened. I said, people must really, when you go in the ear, you must the things them that people could really understand, but there is nothing there to understand. They gimmick are going around and around like a chin bam, but I said, listen, I can tell you something, right? Listen to the Bible, man, tonight. All what happening presently now is just don't bear me out. There was a king in the Bible. God gave him a kingdom. And he took the golden vessel out of the Lord and drink wine with his concubines. And when he find himself in proprietary with God, and writing was on the wall. And then when it's done, he start the ball. I finish now, Patrick, I can finish now. And you start the ball. What happened presently now? He called all the soothsayers then and there. Listen to your passage tonight. Listen to the Bible man tonight, yeah. All what happened to you and Mark Bunty and all of them, behind the writings on the wall, so they don't know what to do.
Yep.
So the company and they say, I'm going to pick it away.
Okay.
All of them are way in the balancing and found wanting, so they do not know how to begin and they don't know how to end.
Okay.
I did my words tonight to them get up and come out of the government house.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And my passage scripture tonight. God is a good God, and Psalm 41, and blessed is the man that considereth the poor, in the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. And so, Patrick, now, the word of God in Psalm 37. Fret not yourself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the workers of iniquity, for the soul shall cut down like a grass and withered away. Patrick, have a pleasant night, you hear me? Because up to this afternoon I was saying, we're in a world, a lot of things are going to happen. So have a pleasant night. Bye-bye.
A pleasant night as well. We go back to the lines and take perhaps a few more calls for tonight. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Yes, caller, you're live.
Paternal love and greetings to you, Brother Patches. Greetings in love and honor to the powers of the Almighty and the ancestors.
Same to you, my
How
brother.
you doing?
I am peaceful. Yourself? Ras Aya?
Lovely and humbly honor the full iration of the moon within the mystic of the ancestors. So we give thanks for the day that's been provided through the Iowa. I'm praying that everything was safe with our people to this day of life, you know. To the Iowa of everywhere where people are in this universal love. We like to say thankful. I just like to read something I heard you reasoning on in this episode that is creating some mischievous within the moment of our people as land surveyors and land acquisition. Now, if you're looking out as you're saying that this premier is stating that his budget that he released is prior to give some strength towards his plan in bringing this development that should be acquired to help the Nevis economy. That's what he stated, right?
That's what he stated?
Yes.
Well, he says it's going to be a game changer for Nevis, so I guess you can interpret it that way.
Well, if it will be a game changer, who are the people evaluating for that changer? The investor or the people of Nevis?
Well, you should know Mark Brantley, so I mean, you shouldn't.
I mean, that's what you know. That's what I tell you the last time I make a statement on your program that there's so much thing that we people ain't really get clarity over where we're facing up to. And until we really see us about changing the elements of how we deal with these things here, we may always have this problem aligning on with people because we put too much fear on our people. That's why we can see why these politicians that do or what they could do to create the corrupted mindset and have their friend them laughing at the people. But I'm glad that it's time now the people got to realize education and mold themselves into a unified approach and stop with this whole parallelism of putting themselves like party politics. Because this party politics can't save things and Nevis no more, you know. No matter what we try around here. The changes need to come, but the changes must come with the value of truth and right. Okay. Because too much corrupted mind on me, and then none of them I go jail. But I tell me everything them go by when we just let them go to office and feel like everything is all well. And the problem still emerging amongst our people. What kind of changes we have?
Okay, that's got you loud and clear, as Aya. Thanks a lot for your contribution.
I just like to say something, Brother Patrick, because it's something very honestly to really wake up the mind of the people. We are seeing a troubling assault going into our region too, where we see these CARICOM leaders are being corrupted by all thief in America and what they plan are doing to divert our people at the trouble that they're creating against the Venezuelan people. So we like to say to these old crooks of America, leave the people their sovereignty alone. Go and change your value, how you do your own people, because you're creating a war on your own land too. That is what I say now, without any fear or favor. Corruption would never stand. Righteousness exalt her name. Sin is a reproach. Blessed love our practice. Have a blessed night.
Blessed love as well, my dear brother. And as we wind down tonight's programming, just some clarifications. Someone asks about Whitegate, and this is what Denzel Douglas had to say.
I believe that the time would come, therefore, as the cabinet just a few weeks ago supported a submission that was made by the Whitegate Development Corporation for the White Gate development area to be designated as a special development area. I believe, therefore, that as the framers of that kind of thinking come together, then they would be guided by what is being legislated in this parliament today. That the White Gate development area might become one of the special sustainable development zones outlined with guidelines in this legislation as to how that can be achieved.
And the other clarification I want to leave with you as well is the issue as it relates to the question about lease land or purchase land. I did mention the buyer's option, and I believe I'm correct in saying that in real estate, a buyer's option can refer to, or refers to, I should say, to a clause giving the buyer the right to purchase a property at a set price within a certain time, or choose amongst other conditions. For example, an option to cancel if financing isn't approved. So there's nothing whatsoever to do with the lease. Oliver Johnson has exercised his buyer's option, that is to purchase the property, purchase the land at a set price within a certain time. I trust that clarifies the question. And finally, my Straight Dog family, as we wrap tonight's programming, we also want to inform you that Mark Brantley said he got a 25% agreement to get 25% of the CBI revenue. But in the meanwhile, he has had a reduction in his $66 million he got for years from Timothy Harris, and now has only budgeted $35 million.
That which was realized in previous years. Considering this, we are projecting that our annual share of revenue from the CBI program will fall below the $66 million previously received. To be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of $35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the upcoming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenues to fund the daily expenditure of government. It is no secret that our Citizenship by Investment program has slowed dramatically, to the extent that the projected annual revenues have fallen way below that which was realized in previous years. Considering this, we are projecting that our annual share of revenue from the CBI program will fall below the $66 million previously received. To be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of $35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the upcoming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenues to fund the daily expenditure of government.
And our final email, Patch's former Commissioner of Police, Ray Martinez, was in court today on charges of corruption, along with the former Budget Director. Talk. Do you think this could happen in St. Kitts? That's the question posed in the email. And as we wind down, my Straight Dog family, tonight's programming, I want to suggest that what this thesis ultimately asserts is that the salvation of St. Kitts and Nevis does not lie in the hands of one man or one administration, but in a collective political awakening. The Federation must therefore rediscover its courage to demand better, transparent governance, responsible financial management, and leaders who understand that destiny is not inherited by position. It is earned through service. And only through such renewal can the nation break the cycle of political stagnation and reclaim the bold, resilient spirit that once defined it. In the end, a broke NIA can rise again, but only when we replace Brantley, Andrew, and find leaders who choose integrity over convenience, accountability over ego, and the people over the politics of the moment. And only then can a leader, any leader, find his destiny aligned once more with the hopes of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. If not, the Federation will remain with a broke NIA and Brantley desperately losing his destiny. And that's my soul tonight, and I am not going to change it. I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I must thank you, the many viewers I see that took a caller. I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity. Would you be able to say what you have to say in 10 seconds? I'm winding.
Parties are going to be quick.
Please.
Parties are going to be quick. Parties.
Yes.
Somebody going to pay for these land. Washington Archibald dead and gone. Said that the farmer, Labour government trick the people with the land. And somebody going to pay the price for these land. Somebody must pay the price. Whether they pay by suffering or whether they pay by something else.
Okay.
Because our land really is our patrimony, and I don't believe the people of this federation supposed to take this like that. Okay, then, Patrick, have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much. And I'll guide this other caller, our final caller, by the rules of brevity. Can you use 10 seconds?
When we come back after Carnival and Christmas, that Destiny project would have already been signed off on, according to Jensen. We have about 30 days left,
yes,
which is just the rest of this, month. And the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, please listen to what the Premier said in that assembly this week. He said it loud and clear. He is going to bring that Destiny project into that Nevis assembly, pass it, and have it on Jew's desk on the top of the new year to be signed.
Yes.
The buck stopped with the Prime Minister. Do not lose sight of what's going to happen for the rest of this month, like we did during Culturama. And we said, oh, we didn't know the first and the second reading went down in the Parliament. When we come, this is a stern warning. Brantley is not going to stop. He's not going to listen. He said it plain in the NIA assembly this week. The top of the new year, Destiny project will be signed off on. Thanks a lot, man. I'm be under Prime Minister's desk. Thanks a lot, man. Patches. Have a good night, man.
Have a good night as well. And yes, in the end, we have a broke NIA and a Brantley desperately losing his destiny. So my Straight Talk family, again, I thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I thank you, the many listeners, the viewers, and those of you who sent emails. Just remember that you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big thank you. We'll come your way again, God's spare, on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. And until then, I want you to have yourselves a wonderful weekend, my Straight Talk family. And please be good to all whom you meet. Remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Street Dog family, be good to all whom you meet. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be restful and connect on Monday for another edition of Street Talk. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees to the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul beg him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep